Folks, welcome back to another reading. As usual, if this reading resonates with you, fantastic. If not, please leave it behind for somebody else to pick up. Today I am using the Light Seers Tarot, and I've laid your cards out in a Celtic cross formation. Let's go ahead and take a look at your central theme now. Before I get too far into this, it seems like this is a sequel to a reading that I did like 2 days ago. So this is probably going to make a whole lot more sense if you go back and listen/watch that one, okay? So bearing that in mind, look at what came up again. Okay, this is the Three of Pentacles. When this came back up, I was like, interesting, right? And you're continuing, this is pointing to the dynamic that you're continuing to operate in. It's smooth going for now. You are working with people, and this might literally be with 2 other people that you're working with, or it might be with a larger group of people. These are people that you've returned to, that you weren't expecting to return to. Your circumstances kind of forced you into this particular situation. You're making it work, but here's your challenge card. It's hard. It's hard. I respect that it's hard. Spirit acknowledges that this is hard, and that this is going to be going forward into the future. Right now, this is an energy that's kind of accumulating, this Five of Swords energy, but I note that it's pointed into the future, which tells me that this energy is going to, that this energy is going to peak in the future, that it's going to get rougher, and this is just a warning from Spirit, okay? There's more around this particular situation that's going to be helpful to you, and we'll talk about that in just a second, but you just need to know and keep that in mind, that in the future, this is going to become more of a headache-inducing kind of thing, in the sense that it's going to feel like the people that you're living with are the people who get the gains, who get the rewards, and you're just kind of left behind and in a sore place and in kind of a tight spot, okay? Just keep that in mind. And we've got more 5 energy. 5 is associated with a Hierophant. These are challenges, you could say, that come from our guides, our ancestors, from Source, from our deities, from Spirit, from the universe. You need to pick what resonates with you. But this is in your past. This is healing from regrets, but also quite possibly struggling to move on from regrets, especially when it comes to this particular group of people. There are some things that have not been completely solved, that may not ever be completely solved, may not, okay? There's always the possibility that they could be. But there are some things that you regret about how this relationship with these people went in the past. Family, friends, ex-partners, you need to take this as it resonates. There are some unhealed things here, and those wounds open up every once in a while. That's possibly what leads into this, right? Is that those wounds went unhealed because they weren't handled properly. Nobody can move forward properly, especially not the people who got hurt. Now let's talk about what's assisting you. You are the magician. This is in the conscious position too, so you're perfectly aware that you're a very powerful person, that you have all kinds of tools in front of you to change the course of your destiny, if that's what you want, or to follow Spirit and do what you can within the context of what Spirit is offering you to do to help you reach your best and your highest good, okay? Take that as it resonates, but this suggests that you're perfectly aware that you're in charge. Spiritually, emotionally speaking, when you take care of your body, that's another way that you're in charge. You're a very powerful person, and when you choose to stay in a situation that isn't favorable, this is in your subconscious. You are choosing to allow the universe to kind of hold you in place for a bit in this particular situation. You may or may not be aware of this, But you're meant to go through this particular situation for whatever reason that you are. You're going to have to talk to your guides, to source about this specifically. It's going to be different, very highly personalized for everybody, as you might expect, okay? There's some interesting things going on with this Pluto in Aquarius transit. Frequently, though not always, Pluto in Aquarius allowed new changes to flow into religion and spirituality. Those were times of shakeup, and you might be in a position to influence that religious shakeup in whatever faith that you identify with, okay? Sometimes it's necessary in order to bring new life to our spiritual aspects, and we need that. So, there's something bigger to do with you hanging out in this particular situation, continuing to work with these people in spite of your past, in spite of how things are likely to go into the future, okay? Now let's talk about the future. This is the Six of Wands in reverse. You're going to be celebrating. Spirit is going to be celebrating, but keep in mind that the people that you're working with now will not celebrate your victories in the future. These will be your spiritual victories. Let's talk. What I do with my Celtic crosses is that I combine the future with the advice card. Excuse me. What I'm seeing here is that you're supposed to continue to accept assistance, continue to work with these particular people because they are helping you to a certain degree. But keep in mind, they're helping you bring about a transformation that they're not going to be happy with. These are quite possibly short-sighted kinds of people. These are people who maybe don't necessarily like to see you succeed in life, at least not in the direction that you are succeeding. They wanted you to succeed in another way, is quite possibly what's going on here. They're helping you transform, not in the direction that they want. Just keep in mind that you might be attached to these folks in spite of what they've done, in spite of how unhealed the relationship is, in spite of how it might rupture in the future. You need to keep in mind that they are helping you in the present. They are helping you specifically transform into start a new era, whatever that may be. This is your current environment. You are someone who deserves to be taken care of, but right now you're not in a position to take care of yourself. That's your current environment, okay? That might be difficult to hear, especially if you are a highly independent person. I get it. There's a lot of pride, especially our culture layers in a lot of pride with living independently. And when that's not possible, that's a struggle sometimes. Keep in mind that this card is indicating that you do absolutely deserve the best, that you do deserve luxury surroundings, especially after all you've gone through. And you need to accept the current environment for how it's taking care of you right now, because I do see that it is taking care of your needs, if not even at least some of your wants, okay? So this is in your hopes and your fears. You're hoping to be happy one day. This is interesting. You're making this particular situation flow with the Three of Pentacles, but it's hard with the Five of Swords, and it's going to continue to get harder because this relationship was not meant to last ultimately. And it's not making you happy. It's making you feel disconnected. This is what you're hoping to have one day. Long-term happiness. I hope that you'll have it. I hope that you'll have it. I do. Especially if you continue to work with Spirit. I'm hoping that you will continue to become a deeply powerful magician in your own right, and that you use your abilities to benefit Spirit, to benefit the karmic balance that we all exist in. And I hope that you continue to work work within the spiritual journey, because this is bigger than you. You're meant to be here for now so that you can be more evolved later on. 12 and 13 together. I think it's significant, one right after the other. That's your current position right now, suspended, but in the future, things are going to radically change, and you're going to need to allow those changes, those radical changes, to flow and not inhibit them by any means. Inhibiting them might make these folks a little bit more settled and content and happy that they were right. This is not the time to let people like this be right. This is what they're doing to you. Remember that you want to be happy in the long term, and that this situation isn't it. This is not a long-term relationship. This is here for now and not for later. And they're not going to celebrate that. This is part 2 to this is interesting. I've never had a sequel reading, but I hope that for those with whom it resonates, I hope that you have a good day, and that I recognize that this was kind of hard to listen to, possibly. And yeah, take care.